and we will visit those questions towards the end. And we'll also just ask you to mute your screens right now. We have a presentation that we're going to share with you all and hopefully give you a good overview of what our camp program is all about for this summer. So I think we're just gonna get ourselves started here. So welcome everyone. My name is Joanne Brown. I'm one of the directors here at the West Essex YMCA. I've been with Pioneer Trails Camp for the last 10 years. It's been absolutely one of the joys of my career with the Y, working with the staff and the families and the campers to provide awesome summer camp experience. So I've got to know, I see lots of familiar names on the chat and coming into the to the conversation this evening, and we've got some big changes coming up. So I'm really glad to see so many people here who are interested in either Pioneer Trails or Super Summer. We have two great camp options for you all. So I've got a couple of folks on the call with me this evening. So we're gonna really just wanna give you a little recap on how we handled 2020, what we see in store for 2021, and give you a little bit of an overview with our camp programs. Because many of you already have either the early bird or the VIP camp passes, and very soon you're going to have that opportunity to register for camp. So hopefully this presentation will set you up, answer many of the questions that you have. But as we said, submit those questions through the chat and we'll get to anything that we haven't had a chance to answer at the end. So let me introduce our camp team to you all. There's me on the left. I'm the associate exec here at the West Essex YMCA during the school year, and then I switch over to camp during the summertime. Also on the call this evening, we have Lisa Schaefer, our Senior Director of Youth Development. Lisa spent a few years over at the Wayne Y, but we're glad to have her back here at West Essex, helping provide leadership with our camp program. So Lisa will be everywhere this summer. She'll be at Super Summer, she'll be at Pioneer Trails. So you'll definitely have the opportunity to meet her. Also on the call this evening, a couple of folks that if you've been a part of our Super Summer program or any of our before and after school programs, I bet you know Fran and Ava. They're a super solid team and they run a super camp program over at Livingston High School. So we will have a chance to share a little bit more about the camp program this evening. And if you have any questions, they or any of us on the team will be happy to answer those questions for you. So I'm going to hand it over to Lisa. She's going to talk through a little bit of 2020 and 2021.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Schaefer, as Joanne just mentioned. So a look back, we were able to reopen Super Summer Camp last summer in 2020. So we did this, we developed our standards based off of CDC guidelines, American Camping Association, as well as the New Jersey Department of Health. We looked at the standards that they put out and we developed our safe reopening of camp guide. This is available on our website if anyone would like to read through all of the details. But we did take a long time to make sure that we were following all the protocols that were necessary. Along with this was having an extensive staff training for all of our staff. We were able to source adequate amount of PPE as well as cleaning supplies for the summer. And then we adjusted our daily activities. So we made sure that we were social distancing and the routines were a little bit different with children washing their hands as soon as they came into camp, before and after activities, stuff like that. Also last year with camp, you can just see some pictures here. This is our health screening that we do every morning at camp. If you are in any of our programs right now, it's a similar process with taking your child's temperature. And then there's a series of questions that we ask you upon entering camp. And then you can see here as well that our staff and the children are in masks. during the program. And then, as I mentioned, we are sanitizing everything before and after every activity, as well as hand washing. So we're making sure that we're following all the COVID protocols. We are lucky enough to have done this last summer. And we ran a very safe summer camp at Super Summer, and we plan to do the same this summer at Super Summer and for Pioneer Trails. So this summer is going to be transition year for us. So it's not going to be the same as 2019, but it also isn't going to be like 2020. We're somewhere in between. So we're updating our policies and procedures so that they are following the latest guidelines from the CDC, ACA, and Department of Health. We're still waiting on some updated guidelines from Department of Health for this summer, but as those are given to us, we will update you all on any changes. We do still have limited capacity for our camps. As well as busing capacities as well are a little bit different this summer from the last time we were able to bus. And then our emphasis is on outdoor activities. So we're going to try to do as many activities outdoors as possible. We know that that's the safest environment for our campers to be in. It's also beautiful weather in the summer, so it's great for them to be outside as well. And then also something big for this summer is that we have eliminated field trips. But in place of field trips, we are having some in-house presenters. So we're still going to have that fun, different themed activities, but it's just going to be brought in-house instead of us busing the children off to field trips. And then these are different camps that we are offering. So Camp Peanut Shell is run out of our Peanut Shell, our Early Childhood Learning Center location. That's for ages 3 to 5. Today, we're just focusing on Pioneer Trails and Super Summer, but those Pioneer Trails is for grades K to 8th. Super Summer is K to 6th. And then our teen camp, which will be on site at Livingston High School with Super Summer, is grade 7th to 9th. And then we have our counselor and training program, which is for 9th and 10th graders. So we really do offer something from your littlest to your oldest for our camps this summer. All right, so Joanne is going to go over Pioneer Trails in more detail.
All right, so Pioneer Trails. So we have a brand new location for 2021. We were faced with a situation again this year where Caldwell University was unable to host us this summer. And rather than cancel the camp program for the second year in a row, we looked far and wide for a location. And it actually wasn't very easy. There's not an abundance of camp appropriate locations to be found. So we felt extremely lucky to be connected with Blair Academy, which is down in Blairstown in Warren County. It's about 45 minutes to an hour on the bus, depending on where you live. And as I said, rather than have another year where we weren't running Pioneer Trails, we felt like this was just the best opportunity for us to provide a quality program for the families that are interested in our camp and are familiar with us as staff and camp counselors. So we are doing a 6-week program, June 28th through August 6th. We are providing busing. So the busing hasn't been absolutely finalized in terms of the routes, but I'm strongly guessing that we'll be having busing from Livingston, West Orange, the Caldwell area, and also Montclair. And as I mentioned before, the bus, we'd be looking to pick up around 7:45 to 8 a.m. in the morning, and the drop-off would probably be around 5:30 p.m. in the afternoon. So for those of you who have asked about before and after care, basically that won't be happening this year because the bus ride kind of takes the place of before and after care. And then we have our camp day down at Blair Academy. So one of the really positive things about Blair Academy is it's a private high school where students board during the school year. So they have all of the facilities there, is that lunch is included. So you don't have to worry about packing lunch or snacks. We have lunch, snacks, and ice pop as part of the tuition for Pioneer Trails. And for anyone who's tired of cooking, that is just like great news. So when we look at Pioneer Trails, you know, people always ask us, what's the difference between Pioneer Trails and Super Summer? And you know what? There's really not a lot of difference. There's some difference in the activities, but I would say the one difference is that many of the counselors that work at Pioneer Trails went to the camp themselves. So they have that love of the camp program, the love of the traditions that happen at Pioneer Trails. So we think of ourselves as that traditional day camp. We have our Camp Olympics. Some of you may be familiar with Color Wars. It's a kind of similar concept. We always have a talent show every year, and we finish up with our Camp Carnival. So I know that our staff absolutely love camp, and they're excited about being there at Blair Academy for the summer. And I know from just seeing it over the past 10 years, I see kids make friends with other campers from different towns. I see my staff make lifelong friends. We've had a couple of weddings already through Pioneer Trails. So that's always pretty fun to see the staff get married and you know, send their kids to Pioneer Trails. So it's definitely a place where we make friends for life. And some of those activities, like I say, there's a lot of similarities with Super Summer, but some things are going to be a little bit different based on the facilities that we have. So archery, arts and crafts, performing arts, indoor and outdoor sports, swimming, STEAM, which is our science program, tennis, that's all part of the weekly schedule at Pioneer Trails. And as you'll see for both camps, we're going to have either some sort of workshop or performance. It may be virtual, it may be live, but we like to bring someone in who can add value and education and entertainment to the camp week. So that'll be happening every week. And then we have our club time, which may look a little different for 2021, but our older campers and 2nd through 8th grade choose from a weekly menu of club activities. And let's just talk a little bit about the facilities at Blair Academy. So we have, we're pretty much going to be the only group on the campus. It's a large campus. It's comparable to Caldwell University in size. And some of the facilities are pretty spectacular. So we do, you know, unfortunately it's not an outdoor pool, but we have this beautiful 6-lane, 25-yard indoor pool for our pretty much exclusive use this summer. There's tennis courts, there's turf fields, there's indoor and outdoor program spaces. We will sit outside for lunch, and there is a large gym for any time that we have any inclement weather. So these are just some examples of the sports facilities that are available to us to use. Managed to go there on a day. We can see some pretty big clouds in the sky. Just had a bit of a storm blow through, but really very spectacular facilities for us to use. So there's the tennis courts, the turf field, and the gym. And on the next slide, some of the outdoor spaces. So we plan to utilize the tents for outdoor seating, for lunches and snack time. And this other picture is a little fuzzy, but what it is, it's an outdoor, like an amphitheater type area. There is like a lake on the property. And we would use that outdoor area. We could do performing arts out there. We could also do some nature-related activities, because as you can see in the pictures, it is a beautiful park-like setting. Unfortunately, we cannot do anything on the lake, but just enjoy it. So very nice. And then this is the Performing Arts building. They have a theater on campus. I'm not too sure if we can have in-person guests to the talent show yet. That is something that will no doubt come out when we get the updated guidelines from the Department of Health. So that was everything on Pioneer Trails, and we're gonna sort of flip gears right now and talk a little bit about Super Summer. So this was the camp that did run last summer. They have children from K through 6th grade, and they do 8 weeks of camp. So for those of you who are looking for, a longer period of time, you need care pretty much all the way through the summer, a really great option for you. The camp days from 9 to 5, and there is also before and after care. It's located over at Livingston High School. That's where they start the day, but they do end the day here at the West Essex YMCA, which is right across the road. So also, has a lot of traditions within their camp program, Camp Olympics. They do a camp play every year, which is always a very impressive event. And I believe Aladdin is planned for this year. And they also do an end of camp carnival, as well as those special events throughout the summer. So with Super Summer, lunches are not included. We do have a daily ice pop and pizza on Fridays. But for those who want to make their day a little simpler, you can order lunches through Simply Gourmet. So that's a company that we've worked with. They deliver lunches fresh every day to camp. And it's a great option that you can order ahead and choose from their different menus. So some of those activities at Super Summer include arts and crafts, archery, cooking, performing arts. So cooking is something that we don't have over at Pioneer Trails, although we may find a way to add it this year. But those are some of the activities at Super Summer. And they swim every day. So what we were able to do last summer was to work with the Township of Livingston. We had rec swim over at the Livingston Town Pool. So we had that outdoor pool swimming opportunity, which was really great for the kids. And it's just a short walk across the parking lot from our campsite. And then on the days that the groups did not swim at the town pool, they swam at the Y. And that's where we have the recreation swim, and we'll be bringing back swim lessons for K through 2nd grade again this year. We weren't able to do it last summer, but we're excited about being able to do it again this year. And then just a continuation of some of those activities over at Super Summer, sports, STEAM, the science program. Oh, I can see I've kind of duplicated a few things here. Art, cooking, performing arts, camp ranger, archery, and team building activities. And then those weekly special event or workshop activity. Lisa, do you want to talk about some of this piece?
Sorry, yeah, sure. So for our camp group, so we group our campers by age and grade, depending on what grade they're going to be entering into in the fall is how our groups are made. So our ACA ratios are for 5-year-olds, the ratio is 1 to 6. For 6 to 8-year-olds, the ratio is 1 to 8. And for 9 years and up, our ratio is 1 to 10. So our counselors are also assigned to the same group for the entire summer. So you don't have to worry about your child having a brand new counselor every week. They'll have the same counselor throughout the entire summer, which is really great. And then over 90% of our counselors are over the age of 18. So this is a sample of a Super Summer daily schedule. So you could just take a look and see the days are broken up into all of the specialties activities. So you have, before care, you have your group huddles with your groups. And then from there, you can see the activities are about every 45 minutes. They're switching to different activities. And then our camp calendar. So this is something that we'll have out in April, updated for this year, but for Super Summer and also for Pioneer Trails, you will receive a camp calendar so that you'll have the weekly themes, and then also any special events that are having, any fun dress up days, stuff like that. Those are all be scheduled out for you for the entire summer, so you know what to expect. Your children can get excited for the themes. Like Joanne mentioned before, there's some themes that are, just really popular, like Camp Olympic Week and things like that. So the kids really do get excited for those days. And then you'll be able to see, like I said, any specialty days that you need to know for the summer as well. So registration, if you have already purchased a camp pass, you're going to be getting an email this week to go in and actually select your weeks that you want for camp. So like I said, if you did the early bird VIP pass, your registration window is going to be April 1st through April 10th. Those weeks will be exclusive just for you. You'll be able to go in and select which weeks you want. This is the early bird pricing that was also included in the email that we sent out earlier today. And then if you did a VIP pass, so if you missed the early bird, but you still purchased the VIP pass, your days to go in and select your weeks will be April 12th through the 17th. After that, camp registration is going to open up to the general public that hasn't purchased the pass. If there's any more spots left, it'll open up to the general public on April 19th. So you just really want to make sure that when you get that email to go in and select your weeks, that you do so during that window, because that was, the whole point of you guys getting your VIP passes was that so you get first pick, and you can select those weeks. All right, so once you register for camp, there's a few things that you'll look out for in your email. So first, all of our camps have a private Facebook group. If you've been in camp with us in the past, you probably are already a part of one. So you're gonna get an invitation to join our private Facebook page. So this is great because over the summer, we'll update you on what your children are doing. We'll post pictures during the day of events and sports so you can see how your child's doing during the day. But also leading up to camp, you'll get to see, preparations, what's going on. We always email for communication, but Facebook page is also another way for us to communicate. So April through June, you're going to be getting bi-monthly camp communications. They're going to focus on program, what's going on, medications, forms, all that kind of stuff. We'll be getting emails leading up to camp. We will be doing a new family camp orientation or counselor meet and greet before camp starts. Usually those are done in person. So we're still trying to plan those out and just try to figure out the safest way to do those before camp starts. Some of those might be virtual this year as opposed to in person, but we will schedule something before camp starts. During camp, you'll be getting weekly emails with any updates, reminders. Like I said before, lots of pictures so you can see what's going on. We also will have family events during the summer. So you'll get to meet your counselors, meet some friends. Again, those are all based upon what guidelines are. If we're able to have them, we do love to have camp events. It's always great to get to meet, your child's counselor, all of the staff that they talk about in camp, and get to meet the other families. If you have any questions or concerns, there's the number where you can contact us, or you can always send us an email during camp as well. All right, so as Joanne mentioned before, if you have any questions, if you can just use the chat box. And let's see.
We do have a lot of questions
in here. I know, there's a lot in there. I'm like, let me try to get to.
Questions are good.
All right, I'm just trying to get to the beginning. So what ages are Super Summer? I think we answered that one. But Super Summer, do you want to get that, Joanne?
Sure, it's K through 6th, and then with Pioneer Trails, we do go up to 8th grade. And I believe there is someone on the call who is interested in teen camp. So just know that teen camp, similar to last year, I'm not too sure if you attended last summer, it will be over at at Livingston High School, and also kind of integrated a little with Super Summer this year. So Teen Leaders Camp will definitely have like age appropriate activities for the teens, a focus on leadership development, just making sure that they're having fun, that they're staying engaged. But there will not be any field trips either for the teen group. So it'll be a different camp program, but very similar to what we ran last year, and the kids had a blast.
All right, so another question is, what are the COVID safety guidelines for indoor pools?
Ooh, good question. So there's really only 2 times during the day when the kids will not be wearing masks, and that would be when they're eating or drinking and when they're swimming. So really, we will plan out our schedule so that we're limiting the groups and the group size in the pool, and also for the locker room area. We want to make sure that we're at whatever the appropriate capacity is. Right now we're at 50% capacity for the YMCA, 35% for the pool. So that really does affect the number of people that are in that space. And that's all for social distancing, physical distancing purposes. We expect the kids to wear their masks in the locker rooms and when they go out to the pool side, and then when they get into the pool, obviously they're going to take them off and put them to the side. Our staff, if they're counselors on the pool side, they'll be expected to have their masks on. Anyone who's working as a lifeguard is required to be rescue ready. So they would not have a mask on unless they were leaving the chair and walking over to, talk to a child or address a situation that maybe comes up. But these are the protocols that we've been following since last July, when the Y was able to reopen our pool, and everything, has run very smoothly. So also in between groups, one thing that we do is just make sure that we use our Vital Oxide, which is a disinfectant spray that we have. We clean down surfaces in between the groups that are coming in and out of the pool.
Thank you, Joanne. Another question is, one was about doing stuff on the lake, but you already answered we will not be doing that.
Yeah, I wish. That would be great. But
and the other one is just about the bus ride, if there's a plan on how to keep the children occupied since the bus ride is longer this year.
Right. I always think it's a great time for a nap. But apart from that, that's probably just me needing a nap. I always would joke about the kids with the kids about that on our way back from field trips. But I think it's just a time for a socialization. So I know our bus counselors like to play music. They like to interact with the kids. I've seen the West Orange bus pulling into camp with like bus karaoke going on. So I think it really depends on just the staff on the bus, but it is a time for socialization and chatting and getting to know the other kids. So I think that's one of the benefits of the bus ride.
Another question was, Bonnie, yes, we can email the presentation out to everyone, so you will have it. One is about lunch. Do the campers for Pioneer Trails, will they be able to pick their lunch, or does everyone get the same?
I believe there will be a couple of options each day, and then also if a camper has any sort of food restrictions or allergies, the food service will be able to work with them for that. But we're the way they have it set up there, it will be outdoors, like a grab and go kind of lunch. But more information will come about the lunch program.
And then are there swim lessons for Pioneer Trails this year?
That's still to be determined.
Okay. And then for the swim lessons included in the cost, those are, so for Super Summer, that would be included, and for Pioneer Trails, if it's offered, those would be included as well. Another question is about inclement weather. Where do activities take place? So for both camps, we're fortunate enough that we have facilities that we can move indoors. For Super Summer, They would take place indoors at Livingston High School or at the Y. And for Pioneer Trails, all of those wonderful indoor spaces that Joanne took pictures of, we would be able to move activities inside there as well.
Yeah, with an emphasis on just, spacing the groups out, utilizing the different areas, and just mask wearing, making sure we're not mixing and mingling, and just maintaining the sort of the groups or the pods.
One is for, if they do before care, is there any breakfast provided, or do we bring our own? So you would have to provide your own breakfast for before care. I'm guessing that's for super summer. You would have to, if you want, children always come in with breakfast in the morning, especially if they're one of our early arrivals at like 7:30. They can eat breakfast in the morning once they first arrive. How do you know if you're early bird? You can send us an email. It should be on your receipt. It would say VIP early bird, but if you're not sure, you can email either Ava or myself, and we can look up your account and see if you were early bird.
Yeah, basically, if you signed up before February 1st, you would be in that early bird category, if that helps.
Is there transportation to and from Super Summer from Peanut Shell? There is not. No. I'm sorry. Are you limiting enrollment with COVID? I don't know if you want to speak to that, Joanne, or.
Yes, there are a number of limitations with COVID. So our group sizes are, as of last summer, were a maximum of 20, but we do also follow those staffing ratios. But just for Pioneer Trails with the busing situation, that is definitely going to limit our enrollment. And, we want to make sure that we can safely accommodate people and in our indoor spaces in case of inclement weather. So there will be a limit to the number of campers that we can take this year.
So for vacation camp that happens after August 20th, how would they sign up and find the pricing for that?
Good question. I don't think we set that up yet in ActiveNet.
No, I don't think we have those weeks.
Yeah, it's to be determined.
Or you already spoke about teen camp. Can they do a few weeks of each camp?
Sure. Absolutely, absolutely. So you sign up by the week, so you can mix and mingle as you wish. I really would just recommend doing 2 weeks in a row at either one of the camps. You want to have your child have a chance to settle in, get used to the routine, for their counselors to get to know them, and also for them to be able to make friends with other children in their group. 2 weeks is ideal.
Is there a payment plan available? So for that, if you have any payment questions, you can email Ava, and she would be able to speak to you about your individual account and help you out if there's any special requests. Can you request your child be in a group with a friend, Joanne?
Sure. So we usually take one friend request per child. If there's any special circumstances, once again, just reach out to us and we'll do our best to accommodate.
Are the children grouped by gender as well as age, or just by age?
Just by the grade that they are going into in the fall. We have, co-ed groups at our camp program.
So another question about teen camp, just expand on teen campers, what they will be doing. So their schedule will be similar to Super Summer, but of course more age appropriate. So, as they get older, their activities like, as far as sports or STEAM are a little bit more advanced, a little bit more competitive. They also will have presenters coming in, but it will be on site at Livingston High School since we won't be doing field trips this summer. So we will make it age appropriate and fun for them, lots of team building, leadership opportunities as well. For Super Summer, if they don't choose the food option, do they pack lunch, and what kind of food can they bring? Like, can it be heated up or refrigerated?
So the heated up is very difficult. What we do, we recommend that you just pack either a cold lunch or use a thermos if you want to keep food warm. But what we do is collect all the the insulated lunch bags from the kids. We keep them inside in air conditioning until it's lunchtime, and then we bring them out, and the kids sit outdoors under the big tent that we have at the picnic tables for their lunch. So the one thing that we just ask you to keep in mind is that we are a nut-free camp where have a number of campers that have allergies, and in order to provide a safe environment, we ask that you pass on the peanut butter and the almond butter and the Nutella for the summer, and just stick with sun butter or any of those other safer alternatives. But otherwise, just packing lunch in one of those insulated bags that all the kids have for school is fine.
There's a question about the teen leadership camp having an info session. We don't have anything scheduled, but that is certainly something we can do. So be on the lookout. We'll try to schedule something sometime soon and send out information for that. Will there be assigned pods? So yes, your child's age group that Joanne spoke about, they will be their own pod. So similar to how we did last summer, they will not commingle with other groups. For sports and activities, they will stay their own pod for all activities throughout the day. Joanne, do you need a town pool membership for your child to access the pool for Super Summer?
You do not. We were able to work out a special agreement with the township last summer in order to support swimming, and we're hoping to be able to do the same thing for this year. So everyone was able to swim at the town pool regardless of whether they had a town pool badge or not.
Okay. There's another question about, are children swim tested for their ability?
Yes, indeed. So first day of every week is swim test day. So if we haven't seen your child swim, we're going to have a basic assessment of where their ability is. And then the kids wear like these bright colored necklaces every day. So the red necklace, and they're really ideal because the neck is what is above the water rather than any sort of wristband. But the red is a beginner, a yellow is an intermediate swimmer, and green is, has access to the whole pool, or, a deep end swimmer, for want of a better word. So we have a swim test that we do. And once again, our lifeguards assess the situation. We don't expect our kindergartners, our youngest campers to have any sort of swim ability. We're going to presume that they're beginner until they show us otherwise. So we're not, making children who can't swim jump in the deep end or anything like that.
Do you know for the buses, Joanne, how many stops there are per bus?
As I mentioned before, we haven't finalized the schedule. That's going to be based a little bit on enrollment, but no more than 3 to 4 stops per bus stop, per bus, sorry.
And then for Pioneer Trails, can they pick and choose the weeks? Or are they required to sign up for a certain number of weeks for the summer?
Yeah, as I mentioned before, you can pick and choose. We have 6 weeks of camp.
Another question about, does camp have a camper nurse on site daily?
So each of our camps has a healthcare manager. So that's someone with the appropriate background, not necessarily an RN, but someone who is managing the health requirements and for the campers throughout the day. So they'll be dispensing any medications, they'll be handling any accidents or injuries that might take place, and that they're there to make sure that if a child does have any sort of medical situations that we're made aware of, that they're helping to monitor and manage those as necessary. We are also very fortunate at the Y to have our own nurse on staff. So Nurse Valerie supports our childcare center in the mornings right now. She was a big support to us last summer, and she's always available to us by phone. So we have our healthcare manager at each camp. Most of our staff are CPR and first aid certified. And then we also have Nurse Valerie to call if we have any questions.
Next question is, will you know about the swim lessons for Pioneer Trails before they have to make the decision on weeks?
Yes, I'm pretty sure we will have the swim lessons this summer. I just had the opportunity to see the pool on Friday, so just have to check in with a few staff members, but definitely, swim safety is one of the things that we're really passionate about at Pioneer Trails. So I'm just going to commit to, yes, we're going to have swim lessons.
Right. Do you know if the Y will be the only program running at Livingston High School this summer, or if there's any other programs that will be there?
So there, from time to time, there's things happening on, within the school, some different programs and activities, but they keep things separate from us. And it worked out very well last year in terms of being able to coordinate things. So we were on the side of the school closest to the town pool. If anyone's familiar with that area, it's a really large, there's a nice parking area there that we're able to create a drop-off loop in the morning. So we're able to have you just pull in. You didn't even need to get out of your car. The staff were able to take temperatures, ask the health screening questions, and then, escort the campers over to the big tent and start their day. So it worked very well for us last year.
Thank you, Joanne. So for Super Summer, there's a question about if before and after care are an extra charge, and it's not. We just will ask you that question when you register if you plan on dropping off your child for before care, or leaving them late for after care, so we can staff accordingly, but it is included in the fee. That was about before and after care as well. Would the schedule, what the schedule look like for Pioneer Trails? They want to know.
Yes, definitely. Looking for it to be very similar to what it was at Caldwell University. When we look at our schedule each year, we tweak things a little bit based on the facilities that we have to use. So we'll be taking that basic structure that we had for Pioneer Trails and just making it work with the facilities that we have. So there might be some things added in that we weren't able to do at Caldwell University in the past.
Right. So for the pod sizes for Pioneer Trails, are those the same size as the ratios, or are they higher than that for the group sizes?
As of last summer, it was up to 20 in a group, right, Lisa?
Yeah, 20 was the max we could have for a group.
Right.
And then the swim assessment, is it done every week? Yeah, for all camps. So it's not just for Pioneer Trails, Super Summer and teen camps as well also do the swim assessment with the children. Are the buses filled to capacity? I believe right now they're at 50% capacity. Is that what they are doing?
Yeah, we were looking to have up to 30 on a bus. So if you have a sibling, you can sit beside your sibling. But we're looking at really closer to 50% capacity on the bus.
There's a question about COVID rules for camp, i.e. potential shutdown if there's any cases. So we have to follow health department guidelines in regards to any shutdowns for whatever reason. So as of right now, the way it works, if there's a COVID case in any of our programs, is that if you're considered a close contact of the person who tested positive, which is if you are within 15 or 6 feet for 15 minutes or more, you're considered a close contact, that group would be shut down and have to quarantine. So it really depends on the situation, who tested positive. You know, if your child's not in that group, then no, it probably would not affect them. So everything is done on a case-by-case basis, and we have to take direction from the health department.
And that's where, you know, having the kids in their pods or stay with their groups is so important, because the mixing and the mingling is when things get more complicated.
There's a question about Super Summer, just about what safety precautions we take when walking them across the street to the Y.
I feel like this would be a great question for Ava and Fran. One of them wants to speak up on this one.
Sure. So we do have the Livingston Police Department helping us out as far as crossing the oval, and then we walk around the oval. And then, of course, when we're crossing over on Livingston Avenue to get to the Y, the Livingston Police Department, you know, stop traffic for us. So they're crossing us probably all the way over there to the Y. And of course, we, you know, take attendance before we line up, and then we, like I said, start walking over with assistance from the police department.
Thank you, Fran.
Thanks,
You're
Fran.
welcome.
Yeah, and they cross at the lights. There's, you know, actual crossing where the traffic stops.
So for Super Summer pod sizes, it's the same. We follow the same ratios that Pioneer Trails does. Both of our camps are ACA accredited, so we follow those lower ratios. And then same thing as Pioneer Trails, we follow the same guidelines. The max we can have per group is 20. But then within that, depending on the age, the ratio is either 1 to 6, 1 to 8, or 1 to 10. If the healthcare manager is absent, is there a replacement?
Yes, so we always have some depth there at the campsites, both, you know, Fran and myself, and as I said, most of the staff are CPR and first aid certified, and then Fran and myself have, you know, many years of camp experience with us under our belts, so we're used to seeing some of the different things that come up during the summertime. Plus, we have a number of parents on staff, and I think they're always really great for noticing whether something is not quite right and helping us to manage any situations. And we have those resources. I would call Valerie, our nurse, if I had any sort of questions or concerns, if I was a little uncertain about anything. But we also want to make sure that we communicate really well with the parents if we have any cause for concern.
There's a question about how many weeks on average do most kids attend camp, specifically like the younger age kindergarten age group? It really depends. It really depends on the family. I mean, we have a lot of families that attend the whole summer and are there with us from the first week through the last week. My personal opinion, I think consistency, especially at a younger age, is best. It's really hard when kids jump from camp to camp and only attend camp for a week, because they really don't get to build those relationships with the staff and other children and really get to know the routine of camp. So my suggestion would be to try to keep your children in for as many weeks consistently as possible, back to back. Just because that's when, you know, they'll really get used to the schedule and make friends and really get to know the staff and the environment, would really be best. But I would say on average, maybe like 5 to 6 weeks around there. We know families take vacations and stuff in between, but if a child has to leave camp early, what is usually the protocol for that?
Yeah, you know, doctor's appointments come up, you know, different reasons for having to leave camp. And we just ask that you let us know ideally in advance. So whether that's a day or two ahead, you can contact us either through email or by calling either the YMCA or the camp appropriate number. and just letting us know what time frame you're looking for. So there may be some times during the day that are not ideal to pick up. For example, with Super Summer, we never want to schedule a pickup at the point when they're crossing the road from high school over to the YMCA. So we direct you to pick up either at the high school or at the YMCA. So, you know, that's where the communication piece is just really important. And sometimes you'll have something every week, or it might just be a one-off. So just giving us some notice so that we can prepare and make sure that your child is where you want them to be and expect them to be when you need them to be there.
Do you know when a decision will be made about vacation camp? For this summer?
Very soon. We had a lot to get organized for camp this year, as some things got pushed a little later than we would have hoped with the change in location for Pioneer Trails. So it's definitely on the plan. We just haven't have to touch base with our ActiveNet folks to get that set up as a registration opportunity.
Will children have to wear their masks during outdoor activities? So masks for camp are, as Joanne mentioned, they're required with the exception of swimming and eating. We do try to have them keep their masks on as much as possible. We understand, especially in the summer outside, they may need a mask break, but it's highly encouraged for them to keep it on as much as possible, even when they're outside. Is teen camp the same rate as Super Summer? Yes, this year it is. Are the windows going to be open on the buses this year?
Yes. Yes, I mean, we did not do busing last summer, so we are just waiting to see what the guidance is going to be with the busing. But from what I understand from some of the camps that did offer busing last year, windows open, masks on, you know, sit in the seat with your sibling, otherwise one child per seat. That was last year's guidance. We'll look to see if there's anything different for this year.
And then our last question is, will Super Summer pods be like Pioneer Trails per grade? And the answer to that is yes, that they are grouped by the grade they're entering into in September. So are there any other questions? I can't believe we got through all those.
It was a lot, but there was some really good questions out there.
All right, I think that's it.
Yeah, so you know, just encourage you to, you know, if you have any questions, reach out to Ava. I put her name in the, she'll thank me for that later, I'm sure. I put her name in there. She really is the go-to person with any of your registration questions. We had, well, reached out to our the other folks who work on the back end of the registration process. So as early bird or VIP camp access pass holders, right now, you're just a holder of one of those passes. You haven't applied it yet to a camp. So as Lisa said earlier, April 1st opens up the VIP, the early bird VIP enrollment. So there is going to be a process where you'll log back into ActiveNet and you'll go ahead and you'll choose your camp and you're going to choose the weeks that you want, and it's going to apply the camp access passes. So it's essentially like a gift card or a deposit that you put down is going to get applied to the weeks that you choose in ActiveNet. So it's really important that you do that step, because right now you're just one of our West Essex YMCA friends, and we really want you to be able to take that next step and choose the camp program that's going to work well for you and your family. So if you have any questions in between, don't hesitate to reach out to us, and we will have those directions on how to take that next step are coming out this week. So, you know, Ava, once again, is your go-to person. She's amazing on ActiveNet. She's the person that I turn to when I have ActiveNet questions. So we hope we can help you all and get you into the camps program that's going to work for you. So thank you all so much, and great to see some familiar faces and names out there, and we hope to see you soon.
Have a great night, everyone.